Hello and welcome back to Tech Talks. We've got another fantastic session here for you. We'll be hearing from Cisco Meraki, an industry leader in cloud-managed IT that creates simple, powerful solutions, helping everyone from small businesses to global enterprises save time and money. Meraki technology, managed from an intuitive, feature-rich interface, enables organizations to rapidly roll out digital initiatives to stay ahead of business demands. Now, they're backed by over 10 years of data and insights. The Meraki increases operational efficiency and empowers users to focus on more strategic, mission-critical work. The current portfolio is extensible with open APIs, including wireless, switching, security, SD-WAN, intelligent network insights, endpoint management, and smart cameras. Now, I'll be putting your questions to Joe Weiss, who's the Global Practice Leader for IoT and Edge Intelligence, after his presentation. So if you do have any questions for Joe, he is ready to answer them. So please do write them in the chat box and we'll get them to him. But first, let's take a look at his presentation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this incredible session today where we cover the Meraki Intelligent Edge and how it helps you secure and simplify physical security. I'm your host today, Joe Weiss, the Global Practice Leader for IoT and Edge Intelligence, and I'll be taking you through a brief introduction to the Meraki camera system, our sensors, and then a demo at the end. But if you love what you see here, please come back and schedule appointment with me one-on-one where I can take you through some of the exciting new products we're about to announce, as well as some of the latest and greatest features that are coming to market with Cisco Meraki. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. For those of you that aren't familiar with Meraki, we create technology that simply works. And this is why people love Cisco Meraki. Because whether it's a camera that when you plug it in, it works, or one of our cloud managed access points, we simplify this powerful technology so that you can focus on your mission. Now, the Meraki cloud is one of the world's largest clouds in existence, with more than 500,000 customers connecting to that Meraki cloud every minute of every day, and more than 8 million devices all working together to interoperate with the Meraki dashboard. And one of the unique things about the Meraki cloud is that we see more than 1 billion API calls every week. And for those of you that aren't in the IT space, an API call is essentially one application being able to talk to another application. When we think about an open ecosystem and an open platform, that's exactly what Meraki is. So let's talk a little bit about Meraki's vision platform, or MV, and why we got into this space. You see, the reality is that we learned through our own challenges with physical security that the traditional systems in the marketplace are extremely complicated. Things that should be simple to be able to do and execute are a minefield of complexity. Things like being able to make a configuration change or a management change to your camera system, or something as simple as just being able to share video evidence with the police can be incredibly complicated. I talk to customers all the time, and when their systems aren't connected to the network or they're on their own separate networks, it can involve VPNs and remote desktop sessions and loads of complexity. And when you talk about securing the access to the system, the challenges become massive when you realize that if these systems aren't connected to the network, provisioning user access and revoking access can be incredibly difficult. And all of this complexity, well, we've learned one thing, and that is that it costs time and it costs money. And that simplicity is actually an organizational benefit, which is why when we build our Meraki camera system, we focused on the outcomes and to really listen to the problems our customers are trying to solve for, and not just building every feature that everyone else has. In fact, we had to start from the ground up and really look at what you would build in a modern era to solve modern problems. And to that end, we had to create an entirely new architecture, something different, something the world hadn't seen before. And that's smart cameras with all of their computational power and all of their storage in the cameras themselves. Meaning that when you buy a Meraki smart camera and you plug it in, it just works. And when you need to view that video locally and stream it over the local area network, it's no issue at all. The Meraki camera system and the video management system will work out that you're local to the cameras and stream over your local area network. But if you're remote, we'll build a secure tunnel directly through the Meraki dashboard to that endpoint so that you can view that video from anywhere. These cameras are incredibly easy on the network, with less than 50 kilobits of upstream bandwidth consumed per camera. Tiny. And all of the video and all of the intelligence is processed in the camera at the edge, making it lightweight and easy to deploy. But make no mistake, we're still Cisco. And at Cisco, we build infrastructure that's designed for cybersecurity first. So we do things a little bit differently because we have so much expertise in the space. We include trust anchors in every Meraki smart camera, so that the cameras can inspect and validate the firmware that's centrally delivered from the Meraki cloud, to make sure that that firmware is actually signed and authored by Cisco, so that only legitimate firmware runs on our cameras. Now, these pieces of technology were invented by Cisco. We invented trust anchors. We invented the firmware signature tool. We've been doing this for quite some time, so we know what it takes to build secure IoT systems. And when it comes to our cameras, we do things even further, like encrypt all of the video on the camera at rest and in transit. And how you access the system, that's a role-based access control. So your users can be provisioned using your single sign-on, making it easy for them to access the system. And when they leave the business, easy for the teams to revoke their access with unique usernames and passwords for every single user captured in an auditable log. Now, when we talk about our camera lineup, this is about to get extremely exciting. Today, we're shipping our MV12 mini dome camera, our MV22 dome camera that adds zoom, our 72 that adds outdoor capability, IP67 and IK10+. And I didn't know what IK10+ was, but then I did some research and found out that that means that you can drop a 10 kg bowling ball 40 centimeters directly on the camera and it will survive. Quite impressive. And the MV32, our fisheye camera. This camera is truly unique. It captures a ton of context and sees an awful lot. It's also a really great tool for computer vision, which we'll talk about in a bit. Now, all of these cameras all have Wi-Fi built in. And we make adapters to convert analog power to Wi-Fi, so that 12 or 24 volt power that you already have in situ from your older analog cameras, you can take that, convert it to PoE, and even our outdoor cameras have Wi-Fi, making it easy and simple and scalable to deploy all of these cameras and truly taking cost out of the solution. I can't tell you how many customers I talk to, and their cabling costs are more expensive than their camera costs. If you can reduce or eliminate that burden, you can be far more effective. Now, when it comes to our cameras, we build smart features with out-of-the-box analytics, motion heat maps that come out of the box, the ability to detect people and vehicles out of the box, the ability to interconnect our Meraki camera system with other applications through our open API architecture, all while maintaining privacy. And this is so key to us at Cisco. We're not looking to build invasive technology. We're not building facial recognition into our platform. If you want to deliver that outcome, you can take the video out of the Meraki platform via RTSP and process it somewhere else. We're not going to be building those tools directly and natively into the platform. What we are building is the ability to get up and running faster, the ability to plug in a camera and it just works without the need for separate storage, servers, software, plugins. Our cameras work natively out of the box with all of the major modern browsers. And they'll detect people and vehicles out of the box and provide you analytics in the Meraki dashboard to capture trends on a day-by-day or hour-by-hour basis, or even go right down to the minute when an event was happening. And you can carve this out into zones, making it even more intelligent. You want to know how many people entered the right side versus the left side of your store? Great. The Meraki camera will tell you that. And we'll give you even richer information with motion heat maps included out of the box. And if you want to be able to do more with the camera system, maybe you want to measure occupancy in a building. We can do that as well using DNA Spaces or many of our other ecosystem platform partners. And if you want to go further, than density and occupancy, you can detect face masks using technology from our partners at every angle. And of course, we integrate into all of the modern cloud managed access control vendors, like our featured partner OpenPath, as well as all of the other major cloud vendors and some of the on-premise ones. And if you want to find out more about this, just schedule an appointment with me and we can talk further about your specific requirements. We've also been tasked to help with physical security for the vaccine storage, being able to put Meraki smart cameras and door open close sensors on the fridges. So that when a fridge door is open, the camera creates an auditable video access log. If the fridge door is left open, to be able to send an alert to staff using the MT20 sensor, which we'll talk a little bit about. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, all of this analytics and all of this intelligence is done in an anonymized way. So we'll tell you how many people or vehicles the camera sees, we'll tell you where they go, but we won't ever tell you whom that person is, because we believe we can provide you all of the valuable insights you need without compromising privacy. Now, I briefly touched on Meraki Things, and that's our range of smart sensors that work when you push a button that automatically onboard. And today we have our MT10 temperature and humidity sensor, our MT12 water ingress egress sensor, and our MT20 door open close sensor. These have 5 years of battery life, and they use standard AA batteries that come included in the package. And you know the best part? That when you push a button and they work. Because we believe in the simplicity of this architecture. The MT sensors automatically connect to their closest Meraki access point or camera, and then out to the cloud. And this is supported on all of our Wi-Fi 6 access points and all of our second generation cameras. It's about speed of deployment and speed of configuration, to be able to get alerts instantly via SMS or email or even webhook. And of course, cybersecurity is at our core, with trust anchors in every camera, end-to-end encryption, and over-the-air updates to help fix any problems that occur. So our solutions are simple to deploy. They peel and stick, they're completely cloud managed, and they scale seamlessly. No hidden surprises and no hidden costs. And they're just so intuitive to use. So why does all this matter? Well, when you can integrate into other platforms and you can eliminate infrastructure, you can accelerate business outcomes. When your barrier to entry is the purchase of a single camera, well, you have the shortcut you need to business intelligence. And this is what's so compelling about the Meraki cameras. They work when you plug them in, they give you incredible business intelligence out of the box, and they're a fantastic physical security solution with video management system built in the cloud, which I'll show you a brief demo of right now. So let's go ahead and go over to that demo. So here is the Meraki Vision portal. And this is something completely different, something unique that we've never done before. We built a custom application just for physical security, to be able to see exactly what's going on in a space with tools that matter. Tools like privacy shields, so that you're not recording into spaces that you shouldn't be recording into. Tools like motion search, to be able to highlight an area of the field of view and then see anytime there was motion in just a few clicks. Think about how you would do this on your applications today. How would you inspect the motion? With motion search and motion recap, I generate these composite images that are drip fed to the cloud, where I can see 30 seconds of video in a single still image until I find exactly what I'm looking for, which is this motorbike coming down this way. And then from this, I can play the video clip back right here in the browser. I can watch it back. I can jump directly to the video just like this. And then I'm right at that point in time where I can find exactly what I was looking for. And of course, all of the tools you need as a physical security operator are built right in. My floor plan view here, my camera view here, the ability to search for cameras when I have large camera networks of hundreds or thousands of cameras in a single site. And of course, the ability to export video is right here in the camera system, and that's generated and created on a role-based access. So not everyone will have access to export video, but those that do can. So I hope you've enjoyed this brief and quick tour of the Meraki Vision Portal, our new experience for physical security operators, as well as a highlight on all of the really cool and compelling technology built natively into the Meraki dashboard. As you can see here, this is exactly what we were looking for, our motorbike coming by, and all of the tools are built directly in here. So if you've liked what you've seen and you want to see more, please schedule a follow-up meeting, and I'd love to spend some time with you, taking you through the Meraki dashboard and all of its great features, as well as the Meraki Vision Portal, and covering off how we can help solve problems with you today. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you having a look at this today, and enjoy the rest of IFSEC. Thank you.
Hello again. I am delighted to say that we have Joe Weiss with us here now to answer any questions that you have, having seen his wonderful presentation. Joe, I was so impressed. Welcome to Tech Talks.
Thank you, Gita. It's great to be here. It's my first time at IFSEC Tech Talk, so I'm really looking forward to helping answer any of the questions that the audience had and bringing this rich technology to life.
And it looks very sunny wherever you are.
Well, I'm in beautiful sunny London. I know that, we all talk about how it rains all the time in London, and that's really just to keep the tourists away, because it's always this sunny and beautiful here.
Yeah, I feel like no one believes that, but let's go with it. I like it. So let's get on to the questions, because we do have quite a few that have come through, Joe. The first question is, how do you ensure cybersecurity on the platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's so many different things that we do to help keep our customers safe and cyber secure. So when we start with cameras and sensors, every single one of them has a trust anchor in them. That's a hardware chip inside of every single camera. And when they get their firmware, which is their instructions and operating system delivered centrally from the Cisco Meraki cloud, it's actually signed by Cisco. And when that firmware is downloaded on the camera, that hardware chip validates the signature so that only signed and trusted firmware runs on our cameras. That resolves the centralized management, the firmware updating, and ensuring that they only run signed, trusted code. But beyond that, for every engineer that we have that's building a feature for a Meraki camera sensor, we have a designated engineer that's working on the cybersecurity of the platform. And there are definitely things that we do, like end-to-end encryption, role-based access control into the platform, single sign-on, two-factor authentication for any administrative users. And with our platform, there isn't a backdoor into the cameras. There isn't a super user admin account like you might see in others. For us, we really take cybersecurity seriously because at Cisco, we're the fourth largest cybersecurity institution in the world, with only 3 nation states larger than us. So we've been doing this for quite some time, and everything that we build has that at its core.
Okay, thank you. Really good question, really important question there to kick off with. The next one I have for you, Joe, is what are the benefits of edge processing on the camera?
Yeah, edge processing is really the evolution of where we're starting to see things go, where workloads like computer vision can be delivered in a camera at the edge so that they can be processed where the event is happening. That helps with speed of alerting and notification. 3 people have just walked in. If the camera has processed that image at the edge, you can get a notification in half a second, in a quarter of a second, versus trying to send that video or images to a server in the cloud. The delay can be 10 to 20 seconds. So you really limit your effectiveness and how you can use the camera as a tool for business intelligence when you're not processing images and video at the edge.
Okay, thank you. Can you see how kind of nuanced it can make you be having that edge processing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It makes a world of difference in the outcomes you can deliver and cost as well. If you're sending a lot of video or images up to the cloud to process, well, you need to have the bandwidth enabled to do that. And for many of my customers, that just isn't an option for them. And then there is an increased cost to process every image or video stream in the cloud. So if you can deliver that at the edge instead of having to send it out, it becomes far more cost effective and easier to scale.
Okay, great. Okay, so we've got another question. Can we connect the cameras to local VMS? Do cameras support OnVIF, who we heard from earlier?
Perfect. So I'll take this in two chunks. First, of course, you can connect the cameras to local VMS. Because we build an enterprise grade platform at Cisco, we allow you to have your video outside of it. You can take multiple RTSP streams, that's real-time streams out of the camera, and you can send them to any on-premise VMS that supports real-time streaming protocol. And that's basically every single one of them. And then beyond that, when it comes to OnVIF, we can't support OnVIF with our camera system. And the reason for that is OnVIF's requirements require the third-party video management system to be able to manage the cameras. And unfortunately, with the architecture that we've chosen, cybersecurity is paramount to us. And so we can't let third-party devices manage the cameras and the instructions from the camera system, because that can potentially compromise the integrity of our secure system. But the video is always yours. As the customer, as the integrator, you can always have access to that and take it anywhere that you'd want. But today we have more than 8 million devices actively connected to that Meraki cloud. And if we took third-party devices in, or we allowed third-party devices to control our hardware, unfortunately, that could put those other devices at risk, because we can't trust those third-party VMSs. They don't go through the same cybersecurity best practices that we do at Cisco. And so we have to make sure that we maintain that wall where you can always have your video, you can always connect to other things, but we'll only take a Meraki camera sensor into our platform.
Okay, great. Thanks, Joe. So another question, we've got so many coming in, so thank you for sending these. This one is, hi, is the object detection in the camera or a separate software?
The object detection actually runs in the camera itself at the edge. So no separate software required, no separate licensing or third party, no separate edge compute device. I plug a camera in and it will detect and classify people on our indoor cameras and people and vehicles on the outdoor ones.
Okay, great. So another question here, are there any analytic solutions that have been particularly popular during the last 15 months?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, everyone has been trying to solve for some of the COVID related use cases. So that's like density within buildings, within spaces, social distancing, which is far more difficult because for cameras to determine how far people are apart from each other, that's really computationally expensive. So we have seen many third-party software offerings do things like that we expect to be table stakes, like count people and understand how they're flowing. And then there's been a whole raft of new use cases that we didn't expect. Things like using our security cameras and our sensors to be able to determine when vaccine doors on fridges are open. So the camera can take an image of who's entering and exiting the vaccine refrigerator. That wasn't why we built cameras, but when you build a camera that works when you plug it in, that is simple and secure, that automatically pairs to a door open close sensor, well, you can deliver some really incredible outcomes out of solutions that were never built for that intended purpose, but have been born out of necessity. So we're seeing governments across the world implement Meraki cameras and sensors for those use cases. We're seeing density and occupancy. And I've seen now, as we come out of the pandemic, things like automating cleaning schedules. So I put a door open close sensor on the exterior of our toilet door in the office. And when that door has been open for the 40th time, a cleaning staff gets an alert to come over and clean it so that we can automate the workflows around buildings. And we'll be working on things over the summer like desk detection in our fisheye cameras to be able to turn occupancy at a desk level so that when someone leaves the desk, automation can be sent to cleaning teams to go clean the desk and ensure that it's ready for the next guest.
That is fascinating, Joe. And the fact that, obviously that's not the reason why you created these cameras, but you're really connecting with a need in society at the moment, given what we're all going through. Yeah, fascinating. Okay, next question, Joe. There are so many. We've got this question. It kind of builds on what you've been talking about in terms of security. But this person is asking, how do you manage security when, government requirements to host the cloud locally in countries like Saudi, for example?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways that we work around this. And the reality is at Cisco Meraki, we've been building clouds for the last 15 years before they were known as a cloud, when they were just, extended infrastructure in a data center. So we're really good at this. First thing to note is the video stays on the camera. So in countries where the video is required to be retained in the country, it's not a problem at all for us, because even our lowest end cameras can store up to 30 days of video on the camera themselves. And our higher end cameras will store up to 90 days of video on the camera itself. So it never leaves the country. As far as metadata goes, we meet or exceed any of the rules and regulations in any of the operating company or countries like Saudi and other areas where it's tougher from a regulatory requirement standpoint. But we have extended experience in building this stuff out, and we continue to sell to even government institutions in those countries because they're looking for cybersecurity around their camera systems.
Okay, great. And a question which sort of builds on this in a way: are there on-premise cloud hybrid options available from Cisco Meraki?
So we can always take the video out of the camera system into an on-premise server, and we support many third parties, and that is on your integrator to decide and work with you on what's best for a cold store on-premise standpoint. We're cloud native. We were born in the cloud, and so we don't build hybrid architectures because every product that we build is meant to be delivered, orchestrated, and managed centrally. But that doesn't mean that you won't have the need to be able to have a local cold store. Maybe you have a regulatory requirement for 2 years of video, no problem. You send the video over to somewhere else. And when you need it, if you ever need it, it's stored there locally on premise. So many customers that build a hybrid architecture, or more importantly, they're not necessarily ready to rip everything out that they've already bought. So they start slowly. They buy Meraki cameras because they can deploy them quickly and easily, and they can use the video stream on their existing system. And then when they hit that tipping point where they've deployed enough Meraki cameras, well, they don't renew the old VMS, and they replace that with the rest of the Meraki camera stack. So there's just a little bit of a kind of a migration path for those customers that want to operate in a hybrid environment.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. Okay, so the next question that we have, Joe, is please tell us more on how the intelligence identification part works and if that can work retrofit. So this question comes from someone who already has several cameras installed.
Yeah, so the Meraki smart cameras, all of our second generation cameras have the computer vision capability built natively in, and it's on by default. You don't have to pay anything extra to have it. It's just included in the package, and you can find that in the analytics tab under the video management system. So if you already have Meraki cameras, great news, you've already been collecting this rich metadata today. And you can create zones if you want to get more and more specific. But if you haven't created zones, you can still retrospectively go back in the system and look at the data that's been collected for the past few months, 6-8 months, up to a year in the Meraki dashboard. And the great thing is, from a privacy standpoint, everything is anonymized. So you never know that it's like Joe that's walked in the door, but rather there's a person present there. And I think that's really important as you start to look at what you can do with the data. Is that you're not getting facial recognition or person individual specific data, but you're getting the macro trend information and how many people or vehicles the camera's seen.
All right, lovely. So we've only got a couple of minutes left now, Joe. So I'm just going to throw you one more question, if that's all right. And it was just asking, how can we deal with envy in the countries where internet is not strong and good enough?
Yeah, so when it comes to the video, low bandwidth and internet challenges are something that we've dealt with at Meraki historically for the last 15 years, which is why we built our cameras with the concept of what if you never actually watched the video remotely? What if you just needed the telemetry? What if you needed to know someone has entered, there's 5 people present, this is an anomaly for the day? Well, the cameras actually have a telemetry feed that you can send off of them that is just data. And that's extremely lightweight, less than 5 kilobits of data from the standard stream. And this lets you infer and understand what's going on in the video so that you can find exactly what you need when you're looking to run an investigation. We've also built other tools like motion search and motion recap, where we trickle feed the motion recap images up to the cloud. So even if you don't have a lot of bandwidth, you can still use the tools in the Meraki dashboard to find the event that you're looking for, and then schedule the export of it for hours when it is conducive to business. So maybe not during trading, but in the middle of the night. And then you can review that video remotely, where we host it securely in the Meraki cloud on our bandwidth as part of the license and package. So when it comes to low bandwidth, like, this is something we've always been good at, and we continue to improve upon. And we have solutions with our camera system that copes with even I think right now I've deployed a camera in the middle of the field, powered on a solar panel, on a 3G internet connection. And anytime a farmer enters this barn, I get a notification on the phone. I know exactly that someone has entered. And within usually 5 to 10 seconds, I get a still image capture of what's happened. And if I need to review it, I can do so. This is no wires, no power, no internet, and I still have a camera operating completely remotely. So I think even in some of the worst bandwidth scenarios, you can still cope.
Amazing. Joe, thank you so much for answering all those questions. And there are some more questions, so sorry we've not been able to get to everything. However, you do have an opportunity. So if you want to know more, you've got those questions, you can book in a session with the team at the exhibitor booth. And I know Joe was telling me earlier that you might get to see a few other things as well about what's going on at Cisco Meraki. Joe, thank you so much for joining us and being part of your first Tech Talk. Hope to have you back again. That's all for today with the Tech Talks, but the next section will be a panel discussion on the future of video surveillance in security, and I'll be back tomorrow with some more Tech Talks. So hope to see you then, and thanks for joining us.
Perfect. Thanks, Gita.